This journey begins nearly 10 months ago when I decided to catch my first ever Yorkshire Barbel. Being on the York Book, I had a couple of choices of river known to produce some quality fish, so picked the Ouse on a stretch reported to be reasonably productive. On first arrival, the river certainly looked very good for barbel, with fast flowing areas, deeper pools and some slower glides. I fished a number of sessions at this spot over the winter, even though I knew it would be tough going. I often persevered into the night in an attempt to draw a bite, but never had any indication of fish being interested in my bait or even present. However, knowing that finding and catching barbel can be hard work, I stuck with it until we had some really bad storms and flooding that brought a close to my campaign.
Storm Kira is battering the length and breadth of the UK, causing widespread travel disruption.
I still went down to the River Ouse one day before work to see the extent of the floods. The landscape was truly transformed. The usually slowish flow of the river was now an angry torrent washing trees and debris along at will. The barbel were likely tucked away and finding them would now be impossible. Instead, I waited for winter to give way to spring and the opening of the new river season, and after a long wait I was finally back on the bank again in search of my Yorkshire Barbel. Having researched the waterways more extensively, I decided I had a better chance on the River Nidd, so focused my efforts on this small yet often tough little river. Arriving in the early evening for my first go, I kitted up and headed bankside, deciding to predominantly float fish to better learn the river, but also ledgered a pellet just in case. It wasn't long until I was catching some of the river's smaller inhabitants.
Well, we'll not be going home empty-handed with this little guy. I'm hoping for something a lot bigger, but it's a start. Another little chub. Biggest fish I've had out so far, covered in black spots. If anyone knows what they are, comment down below.
Feeding maggots little and often, I spent an enjoyable few hours hooking numerous small silverfish. All the activity attracted something a little larger interested in making my catches an evening snack.
Well, I was just reeling in a smaller fish and now we've got a pike on. Little jack pike. Whee! He's like right around the side. How did he even get under there? Now let's see if we can bundle him into the net. Yay, in he goes. That was a little bit unexpected, I have to admit. But first good fish. Anyway. Well, there we go guys, one pike. I don't know, probably 5.5 pounds maybe, not enormous, but very, very unexpected. Just reeling in a little fish and there you go, he went for it. So we'll get this guy slipped back. Well, there's nothing quite like a pike take to liven up an otherwise reasonably uneventful session. You know, I was catching just a few small chub and then he came out of nowhere and unfortunately one of the chub is no more a small chub, but hey, a pike, so he was not a bad one either. He looked in pretty good condition, so he's obviously eating well down here. Seems to be lots and lots of small fish. I just changed my ledgering rod over from a pellet to bread flake, so we're going to fish a little bit more actively now and see if we can't lure some fish up.
The rest of the day passed quite uneventfully with no barbel. At darkness I packed away, leaving happy having gotten many small silvers plus a bonus pike, knowing a barbel on the first session would be too good to hope for. Later on in the week I found time to head out again to the same stretch of river. This time I fished 2 ledgered rods with meat and pellet on the hook. I flicked the first rod close to some overhanging snags, and a few moments later, to my astonishment, I had the first take. I tried to play it carefully as there were many snags, but but unfortunately the fish found its way into some dense weed and I was left empty-handed.
We had a fish on there, felt like a reasonable one, not enormous, but got snagged and then he got off.
Disappointed to miss the first opportunity, but also optimistic I hooked a fish, I tried some different swims to find another fish willing to take the bait.
Oh, I think we've got a barbel on. Not a very big one, saw it come to the surface, but not bad. Certainly putting up a fight. Oh. Hey, nearly, not quite though. Oh, he keeps almost kind of giving up, and as soon as he sees the net, he's just gone again. Oh, I've been playing it one-handed, so it's starting to hurt my wrist. Yay, he's in the net. Right. It's in pounds. So you're gonna go about 5'4". Yeah, 5'4". There we go, the first barbel from this spot. Put up a really good fight, got him in eventually. I'm surprised how quickly that bite came, but let's get this guy back straight away. Alright, let's see if he's ready to go now. Oh, he's now facing the wrong way in the net. There you go. Well, that's the first one in the net. After we subtract the weight of the sling, that's about a 4-6 barbel there. So, not too bad, 4.5 pounds. Let's get the rods out, see if we can catch another now.
I was very relieved to have the first of the target species. Catching any barbel is a great experience as they're incredibly hard fighting. In my mind, however, I was after a larger fish, dreaming of a double-figure monster, so this journey was not yet over.
This is looking like the final swim of the day now. The last chance to try and catch one last barbel. Flick the rod out under a willow, or near to a willow, so hopefully the cover, it's getting dark, will produce one last fish. We'll have to see. Well, fish on, not sure what it is. Feels like a chub. Yeah, that's a chub. Well, just as it's getting dark there, we hook into a really nice chub. £1.5, maybe pushing 2, but you know, not bad for the second fish of the day. Gonna have one last cast out, see if we can catch a barbel, or I wouldn't complain with another chub like this. Let's get this chap back.
With daylight failing, so too were my chances of another barbel. I held on until I could no longer see the rod tips, then got the kit packed away and ended another session, pleased to have had the first barbel gracing my net and hoping for many more. A few weeks went by before I had another chance to head out again. I loaded the car with my tackle ready for an evening fishing with some very changeable weather and was soon on my way, although making a quick stop en route.
Well, I've just pulled up here briefly because marked by this memorial obelisk behind me and in the fields in front of me occurred the Battle of Marston Moor. This is probably one of the most significant battles in British history. On the 2nd of July 1644, the royalist troops led by Prince Rupert of the Rhine met parliamentarian troops led by Oliver Cromwell himself. Eventually, after one of the most bloody battles, the parliamentarians were victorious. So just a very, very significant place this. I thought we'd just stop here and have a quick look.
After a brief stop, I was back on the road, but by the time I reached the river, the weather had completely reversed.
As you can tell, it is absolutely hammering it down, so I'm just delaying in my car a little bit. I've got full waterproofs in the back, so I'm going to get fully suited and booted in them, but I don't want to get soaked whilst I'm doing it. We've actually dropped down to a new stretch of river. It's rained quite a lot overnight, so I saw the water level is a little bit higher than usual, which I thought would be really good for the fishing. So I've dropped down and we're going to give this a go. I'm going to rove, so I'm going to travel quite a lot, fish as much of this river as I can. It looks to be quite a nice stretch, so we're going to aim for some chub, potentially some barbel. We will see. I think the rain's dying down a little bit, so I'm going to get out and sort my kit out. Catch up with you on the riverbank.
Walking down, I could see glimpses of the river and it looked very promising. There were many overhanging trees and areas of thick weed creating an idyllic barbel habitat. While I knew they could be elusive, it seemed I'd come to a perfect area and I was willing to try my hardest to hook a fish. The bank was very overgrown, so I found a little area just big enough to sit in opposite some trees and with a good bank of weed on the near side margin. I dropped some pellets into the swim and waited about 45 minutes. The rod tip then buckled down as the fish took my bait.
Okay, we've got a barbel on. I feel it's found a snag somewhere. Ah, it came off.
After all the time and effort spent on the bank over the months, I was disappointed to lose what seemed like a good fish. Barbel really are like bars of gold, and once lost you sometimes don't get another chance. To my surprise, about an hour later the rod tip was dragged down again. An even more powerful fish than the first was on, but swam straight through the near side weed, and as soon as it was hooked, it was off, leaving me in despair to lose 2 barbel in a row. With an hour left before dark, the only thing left to do was get bait back in the water and hope third time lucky. I put on a stronger hook length and bigger hook to sway the balance more in my favour. There was no way I would miss landing the next one.
Fish on at last. Whoa. There he is. A nice chub. Well, not a barbel, but quite a nice chub there. It's getting quite dark, so about 3.5 pounds this one. We'll get him slipped back.
Packing up and heading home just gone dark, I was stung to lose 2 barbel in one session, but partly consoled with a good chub. The River Nidd had been tough, but I was determined to make it up. The very next day I was back, heading to the same spot I'd failed to catch any barbel from the day before. This time I knew exactly where to get the rig and didn't have to wait long.
Okay, we've got first barbel on. Oh, pulling quite hard. Just trying to keep the pressure on and keep him in open water. I do not want him getting in snags, getting in weed, anything like that. Yeah, it's better back into the middle. Oh, there's my lead. No, not in the weed. Yeah, not a giant one, but looks like a nice fish. Yes, there we go. Oh, give him a second to relax in the water. I think I need a second as well. Tell you what, I could not lose another fish. That would be it. I would just go home, you know. Well, I wouldn't. I would persevere and try and catch more, but made up. Let's get the stuff set up. Got my mat here, and we might weigh him as well, just to see what he weighs in at. So, well, not a massive one for the first fish. He is coming in at 3.1 pounds there, but absolutely perfect fish. I wonder if he's ever been caught before, if I'm perfectly honest. I'm going to get him straight back in the water. I don't want to keep him out long at all. Give him another quick rest and then send him home. So, I feel a little bit of pressure is off now, you know. I've caught a barbel, not a massive one, but it's a barbel. Now we can just get out, have a bit of fun, see if we can catch a bigger one. I'm going to get myself kitted back up, get a little bit of bait in and try again.
I sat back and waited. With one barbel already under my belt, I was happy to enjoy the river scenes. A family of swans visited, feeding in the weed on the opposite bank before sliding gracefully downstream. Bees collected nectar from the invasive Himalayan balsam that now covers the banks. A few hours later, a wind broke the haziness of the day, providing relief from the heat but also threats of rain. As the sun set, I headed for home. Some time then passed by before I was able to fish again. Using smaller baits to draw fish and gain their confidence, I got a barbel interested in my hook filled with maggots.
So this is our first barbel. Let's see if we can keep him there, tire him out. Got some pretty heavy gear on, but I don't want to play him hard, you know. Need to let him do the work. He's just sitting there. Right, there's a bit of a dip there. He's just sitting right in that dip. Classic barbel run. Get them to the top and then they instantly rip again. So he's nearly at the top again. Oh, thanks for that, bud. Oh, splashed. So loosen the drag off a little bit more. Just these last minutes are quite crucial, and it's right at the net is when you do not want to be losing fish. Yes, in he goes. Oh, okay. Right, just getting the right way around, leave them in the water and sort all my rods and everything out. So, what's he gonna go? 7.6. Not bad at all. So we already subtracted the weight of the sling, which was 0.56 pounds. Well, there we go. A 7.6 pound River Nidd barbel. First of this session, absolutely cracking one to start with. Gonna get him back in the water straight away, get him some rest and then slip him back.
Happy to land a personal best barbel and keen to take advantage of the good conditions, I got some maggots back on the hook and filled the feeder. I was soon flicking the rod back into position into a deeper hole ready for another take. Exactly an hour later, the reel's clutch let off a burst of line. Another barbel was pulling hard. After fighting for many minutes, I finally managed to slip it into the net.
And there we go, a slightly smaller barbel coming in about £5 there. Still a very nice fish, but a hard fight, got him in the net. Let's get him straight back.
After giving the fish a good rest, it went back to its home, and after watching it swim off, it was also time for me to head to mine. Walking back along the bank after packing up and opening the gates to leave, I knew this would be my last barbel session for a while, with other commitments taking priority. Looking back over the past 10 months, I was thrilled to have caught many good fish, enjoying every one that landed in the net. A double-figure fish still eluded me, but I know this could take a lifetime of dedication to achieve. Many thanks for watching this River Foss fishing episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button and also consider subscribing to see similar videos in the future. Why not also stick around and check out some older episodes through the links on screen now, and don't forget to look up my social media through the links in the description below. I hope to see you in another video.